around the country who've been writing to us saying that they would like to study abroad, study in America in particular, but don't know where to start, don't know how to get started, do not know who to turn to. Well, we are hoping that in the next couple of minutes we're going to be able to get some clarity on that and hopefully get a few of those questions answered. Remember that if you have still any more questions at the end of what you're going to hear, keep writing to us. We're of course available on Twitter, on Facebook. Our Twitter handle is @NDTV Mindspace. Also get onto our Facebook page or also our NDTV social page. So all that, the options available to you to get in touch with us. For all those wanting us to get started, well, we're not going to waste another moment. We are here with some of the brightest students who are now headed to the US shortly to study. They're all going there to do their undergrad. And with us, all those who facilitated this journey, facilitated this sort of next chapter of their lives, as it were. Renuka Raja Rao, she's of course of the Educational USA, the Fulbright Commission. Also with us, Zafina Suresh, an Education USA advisor, and Rupali Verma, an Education USA advisor again. Thanks all so much for being with us. First, because you're ready holding the mic, and I have to ask you, what is it that makes a student wants to go abroad, say the US or anywhere, for an undergrad course?
The primary factor, which I'm speaking for myself over here, was the fact that there was a lot of flexibility offered at several US institutions, nearly all of them. A disadvantage in the Indian system, I believe, is that once you enter for a degree, you have to do that. So even if you do have a change of heart after, say, a year or two, then you can't actually change your intended field of study. In the US, however, or in other countries as well, but primarily in the US, where all of us are headed, you can do that. So if you're interested in history after enrolling for maybe an economics course, you can change your major to history. So I believe that would probably be the most important factor, flexibility.
And you sort of made up your mind earlier, saying that it's more flexible. It's not really one size fits all, but something that can be tailor-made to your aptitude, to your needs, requirements, desires, and so on. But what was it like at home? Because I know that there are two views, right? One that says that we've got such a great education system, why go out? And the other saying that go out, why undergrad? I mean, I'm sure that you would have faced this too.
Absolutely.
So how do you encounter that? What was it like at home?
So when I broached the topic to my parents first, so obviously the first thing which came in was affordability, go to India. We all went to India, and why do something different? But then after forcing them to attend sessions by colleges, after coming to Education USA, after talking to the advisors, so all of us probably convinced our parents that USA probably is the better alternative, given the fact that, it is evidently flexible. That's common knowledge, but the affordability bit also came in because we found solid statistics that colleges in the United States are offering a lot of financial aid to students, even international ones. So that kind of, sealed the deal.
Right. Renuka, I was just going to sort of get you in at this stage. There are all those who sort of worry about, can we afford it? Undergrad, should we just wait to see, how the next 3 years in India go before we get into it? Then the rupee weakening as it has that actually affected the student inflow in any sense?
The surprising thing is that despite the spike in the Indian rupee versus the US dollar and all of the myths and rumors and so on, the numbers going to the US have actually increased by about 30% this year.
Oh, wow.
And given the fact that we are already looking at a very large base, there are around 100,000 students in the US currently. That's a huge increase. And that increase is just because of what Faraz said just now, that US universities understand that 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds don't really know what they want to do the rest of their lives. So the US education system does not box them in. They're not prisoners of that little box which defines what they need to do for the rest of their educational career. And I think the financial depth of the US universities, large numbers of universities give out funding to international students. It's private universities to a large extent that are able to give money to international students. A few of the public universities which are also called the state schools do give funding too. Students just need to do the hard work to dig through the gold mine. It's hard work, but it's very rewarding work.
Right. Of course, no pain, no gain. Don't they always say that, to use a cliche? Well, perhaps that works here too. I want to ask you, what is it about the US that makes you want to go there, besides the flexibility and besides the differences?
Okay, see, like I'm a research oriented student and I would probably want to pursue bio in my future, but I've been to colleges of Delhi, probably DU, and I really couldn't see any opportunities they provide for research activities. If I am a research-oriented student, I would want to do some amount of research, at least just start, like in my undergrad program, but I really don't see anything there.
Dr. Zafina, I'd like to ask you, in your experience, that of course a whole lot of students who perhaps want to go, a lot of them work hard, like with everything else, some perhaps are more successful at it than others. Is there a certain kind of student that you believe makes the cut at the end of the day?
No, definitely not, because I think every student should put in their optimal best in their application, and this means all the components of the application equally, I would say. A Faraz would be different from a Kritika, would be different from an Ananya, and the profile of colleges itself would speak for itself. It depends on the sort of course and program that you go for. Students need to carefully select their colleges based on their profiles, and I do not think it's good to create pseudo profiles of yourself to get fit into a particular college list. So a student should choose a college list, or make a college list based on their realistic preparation.
Would you have something else to share in your experience? What do you believe is what worked in your favor? How did you crack it?
I always paid attention to the college when they told me we're looking for the right fit. So look for a college that would welcome you as you are, and not try to kind of wriggle through it. And be what you are. You have to be the person, you're going to stay there for the next 4 years. So you've got to be yourself, and you need to be like she said, not a pseudo version of yourself.
And like we're sort of saying that there is perhaps something that fits you out there. There's something that does. So if A doesn't, B will, and you
in
will
fact,
get it.
there are 50 states in the US, and every year we get reports of students and of Indian students and where they are. You'll be surprised. There are students in Alaska, there are students in Hawaii, there are students in the far northeast like Maine and Vermont, right down to every other, you name the state, and there are Indian students there.
Right.
So they need to cast their net wide.
Right.
Don't get hung up by the marquee names like Harvard and Stanford, the Ivy League and so on. There's a whole lot of variety, there's depth, and there's
That's an
width
important
out
point,
there.
because I want to ask you, if you can just get the mic in front. I want to ask, from a student perspective, is that easier said than done?
I never wanted to go to a Harvard or an MIT. I never did. And
I never thought I'd hear someone say that, but yes.
I'm Katyayani, and I'm going to Mount Holyoke College. It's a small liberal arts college in Western Massachusetts. It's a women's college, and I mean, people look at me and tell them, "Oh, you're going to a women's college. Oh, what is the name? What is this college? I've never heard of it." I'm like, I want to go to a women's college. I want to experience that sort of experience. Well, I want to experience it from that perspective. I've been in a co-ed all my life, and I have friends applying to Harvard and Cornell and getting in, and I'm like, very good. I'm proud of you, but I don't want that, because the thing with these big colleges is they're not going to give you personalized attention. And at the undergraduate level, I think that is very, very important, because when I apply for a job, they look at my postgrad, my doctorate, my master's degree. Why would they care where I did my BA from?
One important aspect is that all the students need to do a lot of planning also. It's not that you just start in the month of October, suddenly you wake up and you just think about going to the US, and you come to us and just tell us that we want to go to the US, please help us out. So it will be really very difficult, because our system is like we have to really maintain a lot of balance with our studies, with our extracurriculars, and our whatever program we are doing in class 12th. The students, they take their tuitions, they are doing they're taking their competitive examinations, they have to prepare for their SATs. So it will be very difficult for them if they start at the last minute. So we tell the students at least 12 to 15 months. So the moment they come into class 11.
So therefore, no early. Sort of have it sorted in your head early. I just want to recap what we have so far. The things that you must keep in mind are: be honest when you're making sort of reaching out to those universities, reaching out to those institutions. Be honest. Do not be who you are. Right. When you're submitting your application, to don't only sort of restrict yourself to the Ivy Leagues, like you're making the point. They'll barely take any, and you need to be prepared that there are other options. And planning, of course, planning being very important. Prateek, you want to make a point? We just get them.
My name is Prateek, and I'm going to Drexel University. I think you should not apply only to the Ivy Leagues. You should apply to college which is may not be overall very good, but it is good in your major that you're looking for.
And Prateek, I just want to stay with you for a minute more, because Renuka mentioned earlier, that it's one thing to work hard, to plan, and or to work hard to plan, etc., and get a really good SAT score. But as she mentioned earlier, and I wasn't really aware of this to this extent, that it's one thing to get a great SAT score, and it's always a good thing to have. But there are other sort of aspects of your personality that are also being considered.
Required in the application.
Right.
Yes.
So you're a sort of example in point, as it were.
Yes, my SAT score is not that great. I mean, people get 2100, 2200. I got 1870. That was my SAT score. But there's just more to that. As a student, I've been ambassador to Japan, as an Indian student ambassador. Apart from that, I do a lot of community service. I work with international organizations. I work with 25% reservation for the economically weaker kids with the Indian government, and the international organization that published my article. I also did the CRC report, which went to the UN, and the UN asked the Indian government on basis of those reports, and India has been given 1 year time to answer those questions. So SAT is just, I would say, is a criteria, one of the most important criteria, but there's more to that. Your extracurriculars, I play violin. I mean, US universities look towards holistic profile.
Right.
They look for unique students, a uniqueness. What is so unique in you? That is more important.
Right. So you're a well-rounded student. You're beyond just academically.
With varied interests, because they're not interested in recruiting, an exact same army of students who will have the same kind of backgrounds, come from the same kind of socio-economic brackets and so on. They really want students to learn from each other as much as they learn from the faculty.
Okay. And you still have to take the exam, right? So you're hearing all these who've successfully got in, and sort of, how do you feel? Do you sort of feel the pressure, or I would imagine that you also feel very confident, right? There are all these around you, and you're going to be there when we are here next time, I'm sure.
No, I've taken the SAT. I'm in class 12 now, so I just haven't gotten acceptance. I haven't even applied yet. So as far as the SAT is concerned, I'm done with that. But yes, I do feel a little bit of pressure. In fact, when I walked into the room, I was surrounded by NYU and Drexel and UIUC, and I'm like, okay, I'm in school. So yes, it is reassuring to see that people around me are getting into such places. And of course, I have people to advise me. I have so much support. And like you said, you raised a point about how it is at home. So I didn't have any trouble with getting a parental agreement. They were completely for the idea. So as far as applying goes, I don't think that there should be much of a problem. If I just work hard, I think I can get there.
Well, good luck. I'm sure you can. You wanted to make a point.
No, I just wanted to say that, getting into colleges in Delhi is not a cakewalk. Because I think...
How much, that's of course something that I did mean to ask. How much of that, all or nothing is what it seems to have become. You're either 100% or nothing. How much of that plays a factor in wanting to go out?
Quite a bit. See, I'm a terrible examinee.
That makes two of us.
Yeah. No, I work hard, I don't get the marks. So I just thought to myself, if I've had a track record of consistently not doing as well as I should throughout my school life, what are the odds that I will suddenly get a 98% and get into Stephens or LSR in my boards? So that was actually quite a big factor. And to add to that, when you're studying for the SAT in class 12, it's like you are attending two parallel schools. Because this US system is so different. You have to suddenly, you're sitting
sort of maybe unlearn and learn this, or sort of learn alongside, right?
You're sitting in class, in school, mugging up, pages and pages and pages, and suddenly you're asked to apply yourself. It's a completely different thing, and it's actually very hard to study for the SAT. I mean, I would suggest if students are going to start, they should start early again. Either give their SATs in 11th, that would be the best, but if they're still late, they should start studying in the summer vacations.
I'd like to make 2 points at this juncture. One is that students can repeat the SATs. It's not as if you take the exam once, whatever score you get on that is the final thing.
Is there a finite number of attempts?
No, there isn't. You can do it any number of times, but of course you need to pay each time.
Right.
And there is this concept of the super score, where the best in each of the attempts will be added up, and that will be taken as your score. So US universities are very generous with students, with all students. The second thing is that there's a long window of time within which to complete the application. There's a good 5-6 months time in which students can start their application, go back to it, revise it a number of times, edit their essays, add, delete, subtract, whatever they want to do. So the control is really in the student's hand, and there's a long window within which they can do it, which is very different from the Indian system.
What's your experience been like, and what's your top tip, as it were?
Well, do what you want to do and work very hard towards where you want to get in, and you should have one dream college where you think you'd really want to be. You shouldn't just apply to maybe 15 colleges and then just say ki kahin bhi ho jaye, I'll just be happy and I'll go. You should have one dream and work towards that college, and just work towards that college. And I'd like to add something to what Katyayani said. She said that kids go there because they're not sure about how they do in the 12th boards. That isn't very true for many children, maybe kids who go to IVs, because they have a much better education there. And children who give the engineering entrance exams here, even if they say have a 350 out of 360 in the JEE, they still might not get the course of their choice in IIT because they have counseling sessions. So if I want to do computer science, then I might not get computer science, whereas in the US I will get the major of my choice if I apply for the major of my choice.
Right. I'm totally out of time, but I'm going to let you wrap this for us. You began. And you can wrap this for us. Looking forward, I would imagine, to being an American Desi or whatever else it is that you're going to be called. What is the one thing that you're looking forward to the most, apart from, just making it to the college?
All my life I've lived with my parents, and I'm sure most of us have. I've never had the hostel experience, so my parents will be quite happy just kicking me out of the house and making me independent. And I think that's the thing I'm looking forward to the most, which is an independence, and just managing my finances and being responsible for everything on my own, and I think that's the most important determinant. I mean, the thing I'm looking forward to most right now.
Thank you very much, and we hope that students who are watching, parents, all those who have any doubts, questions, now know where to head, know the road ahead. Thank you very much, and all the very best. Well, on that note, we're slipping into a quick break. Back with lots more as we keep our focus on SATs.